So, the Paintings Conservation Studio, and we've got no less than 4 Van der Veldes here on easels being worked on by our paintings conservators. I mean, these are just 4 of the many paintings in our collection, but it gives you a taster of just how many paintings the Van der Velde studio produced. They were extremely prolific. It sounds sort of derogatory to refer to a production line of paintings, but actually this is part of what's, makes the Van der Velde drawing collection so fascinating, is the idea that they had this library that they could just refer to. If they wanted to depict a particular ship, they would go to their library of ship portraits. If they wanted to choose a particular composition, perhaps together with a patron, they would have a whole array of sort of rapid compositional sketches. If there was a patron that didn't want to pay quite so much for a painting, they might have used a studio assistant for a work, and that studio assistant might have looked at some of the tutorial drawings.
And some of them also have annotations about colors for the flag, some about lights, and maybe some instruction for other members, like assistants in the studio.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Within the collection of drawings here at Royal Museums Greenwich, we have a very special group which tell us about how the Van der Veldes communicated their working practice to others within the studio. They are, if you like, a 101 guide to marine painting. They provide tutorials in, for example, how to portray gun smoke in different weather conditions, how to portray the fall of light on different shaped objects, how to create the impression of perspective using different techniques. These drawings are so fascinating because it's like having a tutorial in drawing from the Van der Veldes themselves down through the centuries. They also give us an insight into the personalities of the Van der Veldes. It's like listening in on the studio. Some of these inscriptions have nothing to do with art at all. There's one about toothache, for example. On another drawing, there's a poem. Almost all of their inscriptions are in Dutch. There are a few exceptions where English words have been spelt in a sort of hybrid Dutch-English phonetics, which gives us a fascinating insight into just how strong the Dutch community was in London, that the Van der Veldes didn't really even have a need to master written English. There's one in particular that I find especially charming, and that's a perspective study, a tutorial in how to create the impression of perspective within a painting. And it uses as the yardstick for this whole system of perspective the height of a boy being 4 foot high. And in the foreground you have this lovely image of this boy, and there's a horizontal line, which is the horizon line, which runs behind his head. And next to his head is the number 4 to indicate that he's 4 foot high. And standing next to him is an older man. And I like to think of this as sort of a father and son combination, a father and son grouping. And I suppose I imagine this being particularly poignant for the Van der Veldes, given the importance of that father-son relationship to their studio. There's just something really charming about it. It really crosses the centuries. It's such a beautiful, beautiful image.